There was. Let's see who we got in here. We got one person in so far. Let's figure out who it is. Get un one. You got to say something. All right. Today is an Ask Me Anything. I'm starting this one a little bit later. We just had some scheduling changes in the household, so we're in an adjustment period. Oh, I can hear myself. Hold on. Just a second. Uh-huh. All right. Yeah. All right, so we're going to begin to Ask Me Anything once we get 15 people in here. As always, for those who are new, my name is Derek Ofadoronwa. I teach Igbo Spirituality, Culture, and Cosmology here on the Medicine Shell. Um, so subscribe if you're new, though I don't think YouTube recommends me to people that aren't already subscribed. So I don't know why, but we're getting there. It doesn't matter anyway. We got an awesome community, even at that, so it doesn't really matter too much. Once we get 15 people in here, I'll begin to Ask Me Anything. So if you know anybody or you got a group chat where you guys discuss spirituality, cosmology, anything pertaining with Africa and its diaspora, go ahead and take the link from here, copy it over there, get your people in here with you. So you can ask me anything in that topic range. These things usually kind of spiral out of control. So you can really ask me anything, almost anything, and I'll go ahead and answer. Hey, Anyaya Nelson. Anyaya, I always say your name super Igbo. So, Ndewo. Hey, there they are. Ndewo. Rasan. Oh, Ndewo, one Ndewo, Ndewo, cool. I love seeing these familiar names and familiar faces. We're already at 5 people. Once we get to 15, so have your questions ready. As always, I'll be here till the questions run out. Once the questions run out, then I hop and I skip. So, Ndewo, no, Ndewo. What else do we got here? 4-4. Wow. Okay. And everybody has hit like, so you guys already know the routine. So I don't need to drag anybody out. So, just some updates. Kind of an update. First and foremost, for those of you who are already patrons, thank you. Um, the community we've built in there is incredible. We have a group study tomorrow. The topic hasn't come to me yet, but when it does, it does. And I look forward to the discussion we're going to have tomorrow morning. For those of you who are curious as to what I'm talking about, maybe you're not a patron. So on Patreon, we have a group, like a group study, right? Like a group build, group study, where we just take a topic that perspectives and so forth. I think I cut out for a little bit. Hold on. I'm going to click a button and I might cut out. So yeah, I'm saying all that to say, you guys let me know if you can hear me, by the way. I'm saying all this to say that if you are interested in joining the group study, if you're interested in having access to my library, and I'll explain that in a minute, and if you're interested in having access to the calendar as well as primarily supporting the channel, join at patreon.com/the medicine shell. Patreon.com/the medicine shell. All of my patrons get access to my library. So it has hundreds of books, articles, documents, studies from different DBAs and researchers and just different people in the spiritual, the ancestral spiritual arts, different experts in Odinani, and really interesting things from like different diasporic traditions as well. So if there's a specific topic within Odinani that you're interested in, ancestral medicine, which is the video I'm working on right now. Just trying to think of some other ones. Just general history, or like books, different books on it. There's a lot of books pertaining to Odinani that are very hard to find. Um, the library is super well stocked with all of that. So all of that is available at patreon.com/the medicine shell. Patreon.com. How important is, oh, whew, you're asking a big question. And yeah, I'm going to be answering that question, but we got to get to 15 people first. So send this to your peoples, huh? Send a link to your people so we can get there. Adumma. If you guys aren't noticing, I'm actually tired as hell. It was me, just me and the kids. It was just me and the kids today, and I also had to record not my next video, but my video after at the same time. And so this is what I'm feeling and looking like right now. So I'm not gonna be on my A game today. But we'll see where spirit takes us. Adumma. We are at 12 and 6. So once we get to 15, I'll go ahead and begin the discussion. Okay, cool. You can hear me. Hadimma, hadimma. Where this is, I'm coming in at a different time. I'm a little late today just because of the change in schedule we had in the household. So, I'm curious, where is everybody from? Because I want to know who I'm leaving out. I feel like whenever I go live, it's kind of West Coast heavy. I don't know, maybe. So, where's everybody from? So, where's everybody coming in from? Finally made. Hey, Uchechi. Okay, Debia. Adoma. From Houston, Massachusetts. Adoma. We're considering moving to Massachusetts, but so you guys, life is expensive for you guys out there. Houston is where I'm originally from. I'm kind of making a detour right now. We may also move back to Houston. Okay, I see the questions coming in. Once we get to 15, we're gonna start asking questions. Maryland in the house, Rhode Island. Okay, so we're East Coast heavy. I'm tripping. All right. Southern Maryland. It's interesting too because it's something that I noticed is that the enslaved Igbo people were primarily brought to Maryland, Virginia, a little bit South Carolina, and they migrated to like Kentucky, Tennessee, and things like that, and then of course spread from there. So it's insane to me that anytime I check where everybody's from, the majority of you guys are from that area. The majority, right, are from that area. And most people approach me saying, "Oh, I don't know if I have any Igbo ancestors, but da, 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 da," that kind of thing. So it's just again, it's really interesting to me that most of you guys are from that very specific area. Yes, my ancestors are from Virginia and they were Igbo. Okay, I'll do my cool. What's good? Providence. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's see. No, Miami in the building. I'll do my Dalungwane. Chukwuigwe. Okay, okay. Orishas are very prevalent. Santeria, yes. Okay, so yeah, ironsmithing, yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. And then the a red soil, I believe that area has red soil from my research, but I've only been to Baltimore, and so I don't remember what the soil looked like because everything was paved on the. All right, so we're at 10. Once we get five more, we just need five more people in here. I'm starting later and I'm more tired, so I don't know. It's funny too, because once I start talking, everybody comes in. So I don't get that. Maybe they just waited out. Cool, cool, cool. At 11, once we get to five more, once we get to or four more. Also, those of you who are interested in learning the Igbo language and learning like Igbo customs more direct, we've started signing up for the next session for Kedu. I'm going to move the start date to January because a lot of people are traveling back home around this time. So the next session is probably going to begin or is going to begin in January. And if you guys are in this live right now, I'm gonna give you an early scoop. We're gonna start giving classes on traditional medicine. We've finally found somebody who can teach it and kind of guide a person through the process of learning to become a dibia and so forth. So I want to have both of those things, both language and the becoming a dibia. The dibia courses is in Y courses ready by January. So January is when everything's going to start. Um, and so yeah, I'm going to push back the start date for the next session, but you can go ahead and sign up and just get your seat ahead of time. I try to keep the classes at 12 people and below. The Ogun classes, the traditional medicine classes are not up yet. They're not up yet. So if you go to the website, you're not going to see them. I haven't officially announced them either. So you guys are getting like an early, very early scoop. So if you, oh, I don't have a charger. Hold on. Hey, Nigeria's kedu nwanne, kedu, kedu, kedu. If you're interested in learning traditional medicine, we'll be teaching that very soon. Ndewo. If it ain't about the money, don't be blowing. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a charger on it. Yeah. Before this thing dies in front of everybody. Kedu nwanne, kedu, kedu. Oh, we've passed the 15. He said, Derek, I need to be the first one to hear about your DBA class. I'll do my. He said, yes, we're at 17. He said, all right, we've passed the threshold. Let us go ahead and begin. I ran out of cola nut, so we're just going to use the cola nut that we carry, the algae that we carry, which is the heart. Oh, I'll do my. Okikekerua. Alawala. Ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ. Ala na-enye ndụ, na-enye ike, na-enye uche, na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ụmụ gị abịala. Anyị ji obiọma na-ekele gị, na-ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Anyị ji obiọma na-ekele ụmụ ajaana na ụmụ kpakpando eluigwe. Anyị ji obiọma na-ekele ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, na-ekele ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Mana anyị niile bụ otu obi, otu ahụ, otu akọ, otu ije, otu uche, otu aka, otu mmụọ. Otu a ka anyị ji aga n'ụwa, ka anyị ji ama onwe anyị, ka anyị ji ama ebe anyị siri bịa. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị n'eke, n'orie, n'afọ, na nkwọ. Ise. Hey, Chukwu Igwe said I just sent the link out. Udo nwanne. You're the one who got this thing cracking, so Dalo nwanne. Thank you very much. Ise. Derek, I need to be one of the first ones to hear about it. Yeah, for sure. I'll message you privately. Adumma. Or more, less worship. Phenomenal. Dope. All right, so let us go ahead and begin with the questions. You guys can ask me anything. Once you guys run out of questions, I'm out of here. I need a nap too, but don't worry about that. Keep me up. Okay, let's see what we got. The first question I got earlier was, how important is the sun in Igbo spirituality? The sun is central in Igbo spirituality. The sun is the most exact vision of the chi or chukwu that we have. It is therefore when our ancestors speak to chukwu, they speak to the sun. They speak directly to the sun and send their messages that way. So Odinani is vast and wide-reaching. So there's spirituality, there's medicine, there's all types of things. For example, the sun is also a part of our medicinal practice, right? It is said that when you are forming medicine, you have to make sure that the sun enters your medicine or the sun touches your medicine. You cannot develop medicine in the dark. There is a dibia that was showing the difference. He had his students make the same thing, and only one of them was placed in front of the sun and one of them was kept in the shadows, and they waited a few days and the color was like radically different and very consistent with each one. So the sun is a big part of everything. Ndibo are known as the children of the rising sun, right? And so the sun is central. Anyanwu is central, right? That's how we understand Chukwu. That's how we understand Uche. That's how we understand just about everything, because it's the most exact vision of the creator, right? That's why the planets rotate around it. That's why it controls the days and so on and so forth. It's the most exact vision of the creator, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, the sun is everything, central, very central. We speak to Chukwu by speaking to the sun. Also, just on a casual note, you greet the sun as well when you first see the sun. You greet the sun, because the sun is one of your ancestors. That's one of your creators, right? If you trace it back, your grandmother, grandfather, grandfather, all the way back, you're going to end up at earth and sky. And then you go further back, you're going to end up at sun, right? The sun is also one of your grandparents. So you show them the respect you would show any elder. So, or you show it the respect you would show any elder. Odema. Let's see here. Okay, somebody says because Yoruba have a more pronounced presence in diaspora. Yeah, Orisha is very prevalent in Santeria and Cantaliba. Yeah, that is true. Ironsmithing, that is true. Things because Yoruba Orisha are more or less worshipped in Odinani. It's understood that the Abara are more or less phenomena. Yes, 100 hours. Of course. Hi. Uche Chuku. Uh, got 17. Okay, yeah, we already passed that. Uh, People are okay. I went on my bi-monthly rabbit hole into Nigerian Twitter. People are celebrating Tinubu undoing Buhari policies. Do anything about that? Yeah, I try not to pay attention. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of Buhari's policies were really ignorant and brutal. Like right now, it's like if I like when I want to pay the teachers for Kedu, the teachers Kedu's my Igbo language school. And when I want to pay them in Nigeria, it's such a headache because Buhari has blocked like a whole bunch of like the newer payment methods, right? He's blocked a whole bunch of them because in his head, the only way you can make money on the internet is by doing crime. So he has a lot of ignorant policies. So if Tinubu is reversing them, that's great. That's perfect. SARS is one of Buhari's programs. For those who don't know, SARS is they just give like they just get like they're not even police officers. They just get people. They just get like what they call thugs in Nigeria. They get thugs and just like give them uniforms, and their job is to go around and look for criminals. But their definition of criminal is like a young person with nice clothes, a young person with a nice car, a young person with a laptop, a young person with a nice cell phone, that kind of thing. And they just find the person, harass them, beat them up, that kind of thing. So that's when they had the whole end SARS thing, right? Because it was affecting rich kids. So all the rich kids got on the internet and said, "Hey, enough is enough." I think Nigeria might be bad. Enough is enough. And so they were fighting the end SARS thing. So yeah, Buhari's policies were completely idiotic. Tinubu is just trying to steal money, right? So Tinubu's a thief. Buhari is like is violent, right? So that's kind of the choices we typically get in Nigeria. You can get a thief or you can get somebody who's violent. And so Buhari, maybe he stole, maybe his like wife or something stole money, but his thing is he just wants to beat people up. He wants to hurt people. He wants to shoot people, that kind of thing. Tinubu wants to steal your money. He wants to run things to the ground, that kind of thing. So, some people prefer that flavor. So he's undoing a lot of those policies and that kind of thing. So if he is, that's good, but I'm not paying attention. It's all nonsense. Are there dragons in Odinani? Oh, okay. This is an interesting question. Do serpents have any significance? Serpents have a lot of a lot of significance. Um, the question is, what does the dragon symbolize in the cultures that you're familiar with it in, right? Because the dragon plays the same role as the hornbill for us, a bird called the hornbill, right? This is not something you're going to see anywhere. It's a deduction that I personally made. I saw this. So, but when you understand what the dragon represents, you'll know that it's the hornbill in a lot of African cultures, the bird called the hornbill in a lot of African cultures. Now, there is also rules that, like in European culture, where the dragon's like the keeper of like a treasure. I don't, the hornbill doesn't play that role, but a lot of other things. And if you look at the outline or the shape of the hornbill, it's almost like, it's unlike a lot of birds, it's almost serpent-like with wings. So it's the same vibration, right? It's the same vibration. Somebody got the same uche or abia, and in their reality, they made it a hornbill. Another place, they made it a dragon. But yeah, the serpents or the python. Let me specifically say the python plays a massive role in Odinani. A lot of the Abara will communicate with you by way of Python, specifically the feminine ones, very specifically water or Nemiri, and the earth, Anna. They'll both communicate with you by way of serpents or pythons because those pythons are them they're in their animal form, right? It's them in an animal form. So if they have a message for you, They can send it by way of a python, an actual python, or like a river python, Ikenga in my area. They'll send it by way of a python, or maybe you'll see it in dreams, something similar in dreams, right? You'll receive the impulse, then based on your zeitgeist and your cultural imagination, you'll make that impulse something, but it's going to look like what somebody made in China and over here, but it'll just have little different colorings. So if you look at a dragon, it's a serpent with wings. Now I know what they're trying to say with that, and one of the ways that's represented is by the hornbill in African culture or in Igbo culture. Um, but yeah, so yeah, serpents or pythons are super, super important. Where I'm from, you can't kill pythons. Where I'm from, because they're messengers of the earth, or in my area, they're messengers of the river. But they're also messengers of the earth. So because they're messengers of the divine, you can't kill them. They're the landlords of my community. So like where I'm from, they were here before us. They were on that land before us. So we regard them as the landlord. Like we're like living with them, but they were here before us. So they're given their due respect. If a human, like if they die because of human activity, like you run over one with a car or like you accidentally kill one, you're supposed to give it a full funeral like a human being, right? Like, you give it a full funeral like a human being. If one visits your house, you can't like physically chase it out. You have to offer it a stick, and it wraps around the stick. It'll like when it's ready to leave, it'll wrap around that stick, and then you'll walk it back to the Arushi. You'll take it back to the Arushi, and then you'll leave it there. My uncle who passed away this year, he used to he used to be the one people would call when like a python would come into your house. And so he'd get one wrapped around his stick, and then he'd take it and start chasing the kids. That was his humor. He also bought a car, and he's like a huge troll. He's a troll, and so he bought a car, and he would like when like he would drive, and then he like if people were on the sidewalk, he just drive up on the sidewalk real quick, and then they'd run off. Like I just got he just kind of had this weird sense of humor. Very very interesting life. He won like two visa. He won a visa lottery to go to South Korea, and then won a visa lottery in South Korea to go to Japan, and then from Japan got to come to America. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I kind of miss him. I'm going on a tangent. This guy's a legend. He didn't know you couldn't bring weed, and so he had weed in the airport. They're like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Weed." And the police were arresting him. I guess they were like, American police. They try to be rough, and so he headbutted one of the cops, and they beat him. And then we had to pick him up from like a jail in Chicago, and he lived with us for a little bit. And this might sound crazy to some people, but he's my hero, man. I love this guy. And we picked him up, and then he heard that you can sue people for pain and suffering, and so he kept because he got sent back to Nigeria, and so he kept calling me and my sister like, yeah, yeah, man, I'm having pain and suffering, man. Get me a lawyer, man. So he was trying to sue the police in Chicago for beating him up after he headbutted them. But anyways, yeah, long story short, I don't even know where the hell I came up with that, but he used to chase people with the python. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We really respect the python where I'm from. That's fun. Have you ever waged war in the name of an Abara, or is that not such a thing? The only time I've ever heard of it was in the war in Arochukwu, like the establishment of a community called Arochukwu. So, Odinani, as far as the first mother is Nechuku, right? The first shrine that we are aware of that was established for Nechuku was in a community called Utsuru, or not. I'm sorry, not in Utsuru, Uguele, near Utsuru. So in that general area, in Uguele, mountain of Ele, or hills of Ele, as it's called. And so a Nechuku or Neka used to live in that, or an Arashi was established to communicate with her. So that's where you went to communicate with. That's where she lived. And so the story goes that people would come from all over the world and come and ask her for her wisdom, for because she's the universe, right? So to come and ask for the wisdom of the universe, and she would give them the wisdom, and then she'd also give them a spear, right? And so they should give them a spear, and they'd go give them a spear, and they go, and this happened for thousands, and thousands of years, until one day. People became pettier and pettier and started asking for pettier, more. self-serving kind of questions. Finally, there was a woman in the community who got jealous, and she said, "Well, why does everybody go to her and not me?" So she decided to go and ask the Irishi, or the Albara, yeah, the Irishi, to go and ask the Irishi, "If you're so wise, then tell me where I put my cooking pot." And she told her where the cooking pot was, but she was so insulted by this question that the spirit rose up from that land, right, and took off. And so that community lost that communication, that thing. Now, what's interesting is the oldest evidence of human life in West Africa, to my knowledge, or at least coastal West Africa, but I'll say West Africa, or like human settlement, not human life, of human settlement, are these piles and piles and piles that go down for like several generations into the ground of broken spears, and they don't look like the spears you hunt with. They're very round. They're like symbolic spears. Now I'm going to tell you guys something that a lot of people don't know. Under the stool of a lot of West African monarchs, there's a box. That box has a spear in it. Okay? So it's a very interesting thing that happened historically. But under they either under their stool or somewhere in their general stool facility, they'll have a box, and this box will have a spear in it, right? Or a spearhead, sorry, spearhead. Anyway, she lifted up, right? And left that land, and then she landed somewhere else. Now, people say she came to my community. She came to my community. There are different people that claim, but one of the places that has a very strong claim as to where she landed was Arochukwu, right? So Arochukwu people say that she landed in that community, and when she landed in that community, the spirit landed in that community. There was a convergence of allies. So Igbos, EBBO, all these different groups, because it's like on the borderland of Igbo land and like our neighbors. And so all these people got together and attacked that community and took it over, right? And that's how Arochukwu was established. The community of Arochukwu was established. So that is the only time I've ever heard of somebody fighting because of an Abara. But if you go deeper into the story, it's not really about the Abara. It's about the location and the slave trade and a whole bunch of things. I'll probably do a video on it later, sometime, but it's more closely related to the thing. And the claim that Ne Chukwu or Chukwu is here, it's a bit of a scam. It's a bit of a fraud. There's an Ilu that says an Aro man never tells another Aro man that Chukwu is calling him, right? So it's a bit of a that's not really it's not a real the Europeans ended up calling it long juju, because people would come from far and wide to come and visit, like all like what I saw written was people from like all the way in like Benin Republic and Togo, that area, would come in to ask Ne Chukwu or Chukwu of Aro Chukwu. Part of the story is that she changed herself into a man. This is one version of the story. Chukwu changed herself into a man so that women would respect her, not ask her questions about their pots and stuff. So, but either way, yeah, it's a very yeah. That's the only time I've ever heard of anybody fighting about an Abara. Typically, that's not normal. I see different cultures speak of fighting for God. Oh, okay, cool. And then there's another added part. They fought for the land, not necessarily for the Abara. One of the things that, okay, so in Odinani, you never, ever fight for a spirit. You never, ever fight on behalf of a spirit. So they're not fighting on behalf of Nechuku. They're fighting for the land, because it's now special or whatever. But it's more about the slave trade. It's not about that at all. That's extra stuff after. But what was I gonna say? You never fight on behalf of an Irishi or more spirit or anything like that. The idea is, if it is real, if the thing you're saying claiming is real, it will exact its own justice. You don't need to do it on its behalf, right? And the way I learned this was there's this Eze that we had in our community. and he had allowed a church group to cut down a sacred tree. This was the tree that anytime you take an Ozo title, Ozo and Nze are related, they're similar. Anytime you take an Ozo title, you hug that. Part of the ceremony is that you hug the tree. And a church group decided that was the devil, so they cut it down, right? And the Eze had gave them permission to do it. And so the community ended up later on revolting, not because of the tree. My dad says it's because of the like under it, the surface, it's because of the tree, but they ended up revolting against him because of the whole Biafra thing that he did some stuff. He showed favor for the government over the Biafrans, and so the Biafran people attacked him, right? But my dad says there's more to it, right? That it was overdue. But I told him, I was like, when the church group is coming, why come nobody can stop them? And I said, and he told me that one of the reasons they're able to do all these things is because you never fight on behalf of a spirit. You don't fight on behalf of a spirit. You don't defend a spirit. You don't do things like you don't exact justice for a spirit. It'll do its own. It'll do its own, right? So um if they destroy it, nothing happens, and that's just what it is. But right now, the guy is in dire straits. And I'm saying this smiling, but he's my relative, so yeah, but I don't know what's wrong with that guy. When I have an Ikenga activated, can I be broke? Because I did Afa and it's active, but I'm struggling. The Ikenga is like having gas in your car, right? Ikenga is like having gas in your car. So if somebody tells you your Ikenga is active, it's alive, right? It's a good sign. It means you're ready to go. And when you're going, that's what's going to power your movement. But it's you that's going to make the movement, if that makes sense, right? It's you. If you stay still with a full tank of gas, you're not going to move, right? But if you say, I want to take a long trip, you can take a long trip now. You have that power. You can do that. So the Ikenga is not going to make you rich. You have to say, Ikenga, we're going to go get rich. Follow me, right? Onyekwe, chiekwe, right? What you will, your chi wills. You move in this direction, your chi comes with you. So Ikenga, come with me, right? Got the full tank of gas. Let's go. You understand? Some people's gas tanks are empty, so you're very fortunate that Afa said this for you. But it doesn't mean that you're going to become rich just because you have to pursue it, right? If you pursue being broke, you'll be with your Ikenga. You'll be the brokest human being. You'll be the brokest human being God's ever created, right? If you pursue being wealthy, same if you're with your Ikenga, right? If your chi wills it. So whatever direction you want to move in, move in. Your Afa is telling you that you are fully fortified, you're ready to go. So you pick the direction and you move, right? Pick the direction and you move. One of the things you can do is to ask your ancestors and ask your chi, is I'm going in this direction. Is it for me? If it is not for me, give me a sign. If it is for me, give me a sign. Tell me something, right? That kind of thing. And then wait for the sign or begin moving. The sign will come when it comes. That kind of thing. But it means that once you say I'm going left, you're gonna go left with power. So she can wonder. Yo, I don't. This thing's not charging though. They just make chargers worse and worse, and we're supposed to believe that we're advancing technologically. Oh, no problem. Yeah, this one might be a short one, guys. I'm at 5% battery, so we're gonna go to the wheels fall off. Turn the light on. Let me see if I can get more questions. You guys are asking really good questions today. Serpents. Okay, so there's checkpoints. Can a man have Amadioha as a guardian? Yes, yes, yes. If you're a righteous man has Amadioha as their guardian. If you are a man who is doing the will of the people, Amadioha, Dioha, if you're doing the will of the Oha, Oha is the people. Amadi, man of the people, savior of the people, man of the great man of the people, that kind of thing. If you're doing the will of the people, Amadioha's wind is behind you. Amadioha is your guardian. If you're doing the will of your people, you will not be defeated, right? But that's a mandate. Once you step outside of that mandate, you're on your own. Ondema. So if it's your mandate to take it. If we're in the age of suffering, does that mean we're going back to the first world age? I think about this all the time. I don't know. Maybe there's a fifth world age, right? People tend to think it's a cycle. And I was thinking that way too, but then I was thinking the other day, what if there's a fifth world age? What if there's something after? What if we're just at four because we're at four, right? So I don't know. I don't know what's next. I don't know if we're going to turn back into to light forms. Maybe you can consider a digital presence kind of a light form, right? Um, I think the next age is Uganwa, to be honest with you. Everybody says that. Most people say the next one is Uganwa, but I don't know how we're going to go from Uganwa to Ugazi back to Uganwa. But we'll see anyway. Yes, Amadeo has not so much a personal guardian as he is universal enforcer of justice, protects all innocent people unequivocally. So if you're doing that, if you're protecting innocent people, Amadeo has behind you because you're doing that with the will of Amadeo, which is the will of Chukwu. Uh, it's different mythology. Amadioha is as mode. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I try not to say, oh, this is that, that is this is that, because I don't know what they're talking about over there, right? Isn't Asmodeus one of isn't that the devil, bro? I don't know too much about Asmodeus. You might be right. You might be right. It doesn't mean parallels don't exist. Parallels absolutely exist. They 100% exist. But I tend to figure out what each one is before I start making a connection. So maybe you've done that. I'm not. I'm gonna assume you already have. Ibn Ubabi. Yes, I read about it. Uh, I'm skipping that one. Can you talk about the significance of the history of volcanoes in Igbo land? Oh yeah, it's a good one. Significance of places mountain. It's interesting. There's nothing I can tell you about volcanoes as far as like Odinani or Igbo people. I don't think there's any volcanoes in our land, but I could be wrong. Um, it is interesting though that the Phoenicians, um, allegedly, I'm not sure, they sailed all around the coast of West Africa. When they reached what they think is Nigeria, they said that there was a volcano going off. There was a volcano going off, and the locals started throwing stuff at them. But that's it's a very famous historical account. Maybe I'll read it. I'm thinking about reading some historical accounts on the channel too. There's this channel I watch, like Voices from the Past, and it's one of my favorite channels on YouTube. And I got a whole bunch of stuff in the library that would be the same, that I can do the same with. So I'm thinking about just reading some accounts from the past, and that's one of them that I'd like to read about the Phoenicians' trip around Africa. But they said that there was a volcano going off. I'm not aware of any volcanoes in like that Nigeria area. I think there's one in around Cameroon. So I don't know. I don't know what they say about. I don't know anything about volcanoes as far as that goes. Can you have a destiny to do bad like the Terminator? Yes, yes. Where can I get Ikenga made? I'm working on having them available soon, so I'm gonna make an announcement. So I'm giving you guys early scoops, by the way. Let me see. 2% battery, y'all. We're about to wrap it up. I'm gonna try to be quick. Wondering, is there a concept of the end times in Odinani? No, there is not. There is not. Um, yeah, so somebody said Cameroon has a okay, yeah, dope. Who's your favorite Abara? It was Ekwensu for a while. I think it's still Ekwensu and maybe Arobinago. Um, Probably more so Arobinago right now. I had a lot of fun making the video, and I started seeing a lot of interesting stuff, recently as far as Arobinago goes. Um, a lot of people have messaged me that they've been visited by like an old woman, and then she'll give them a sign and like not say anything. I've had 3 or 4 people since I've started my channel message me this exact same thing, show me the sign and ask me if it's in Sibidi. I don't know whether the signs are in Sibidi or not, but I think that the woman they're seeing, or I believe the woman they're seeing, is Arubinago. And Arubinago also visited me in a dream as well, but I didn't know who it was. It was a quiet woman that just kind of looked at me, and made me look at my poems, and I saw that my left poem was different from my right poem, and it, in a hard to explain way, it made me realize what I should be doing, right? So, does Odinani have any rules regarding attire in certain situations? Okay. In Christianity, traditionally, you're supposed to wear a suit to church. Comparable as far as Odinani goes. It's hard to say that because Odinani is just a way of saying Igbo, right? So it's not necessarily you should wear this or you shouldn't wear that, but there are things you wear for specific functions, right? So an Ozo or an Inze is supposed to dress like an ancestor.